Mayor Adams is making an economic development announcement in Manhattan. Let's go to that now.
We're going to feel even better when we win this DNC bid. So good afternoon, and thank all of you for joining us today. On April 2022, the Democratic National Committee released an RFP inviting cities to formally submit their application to host the 2024 Democratic National Convention. It's my pleasure to announce that New York City, under Mayor Adams' direction and leadership, will officially be submitting our bid to the DNC today ahead of tomorrow's deadline. I'm thrilled that we're joined today by such a broad group of supporters from city, state, federal elected officials, business and civic leaders, labor leaders, hospitality representatives, small business owners, and uniformed members of the NYPD and FDNY. In addition to Mayor Adams, today you will hear from several members of our fantastic congressional delegation, leaders from our hotel industry, as well as representatives from our small business community. I also want to acknowledge Councilmember Amanda Farias, who chairs the Economic Development Committee, Councilmember Joe Borelli, Borough President of Manhattan, Mark Levine. And we're joined today by so many of our partners in organized labor. Stuart Applebaum, RWDSU and Chair of the Democratic National Labor Council, Gary LaBarbera from the Building Trades, Henry Garita from DC 37. We're also joined today by Joel Fisher, EVP of Madison Square Garden, a critical player in this bid, and Alan Steele, CEO of Javits. I also want to acknowledge Christine Quinn, Vice Chair of the New York State Democratic National Committee. We're also joined by my boss, in addition to the mayor, but my more direct boss, Deputy Mayor Maria Torres Springer, and our sister agencies, Parks Commissioner Sue Donahue, DOT Commissioner Adonis Rodriguez, and SBS Commissioner Kevin Kim, a fantastic team that works together every day to make this city better. We're here today to send a unified message to the DNC. New York City stands ready and eager to host the 2024 Democratic National Convention. We stand united as partners with the DNC to ensure New York City meets their needs for a successful convention, including the best possible convention experience for all attendees. And New York City has a lot to offer the DNC. Our diversity, amenities, culture, along with our venue and hotel offerings, all unrivaled. Not to mention, DNC 2024 will be good for NYC, especially our retail, hospitality, and cultural sectors still recovering from the COVID-19 epidemic. DNC estimates over 30,000 people will be coming to the host city for the convention. Not only will the convention have a great impact on our economy, especially for small businesses in a commercial corridor most hard hit by the pandemic, but it will also showcase on the national and international stage that New York City is back. First, I'd like to introduce Mayor Eric Adams, New York City's biggest booster, relentless fighter for New York's economic recovery, a recovery that's not only robust, but inclusive and equitable, and there is nobody, I can assure you nobody, more excited than bringing the convention to New York City than Mayor Adams. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. And I am just going to be brief because I want you to hear from just our colleagues, our supporters. This is a team New York moment. This is a team New York moment. When I saw Henry Garita here, to see the cross sections of unions, our electeds, our small business owners, we all benefit by allowing and bringing in the convention here to the city. And as smart as our Councilman Borelli understands that this is not about Democrat or Republican, it's about how do we bring resources to our city. It's going to impact all 5 boroughs. This is an opportunity for us to wear one jersey, Team New York. We're recovering, we're moving in the right direction. 80.5% of our hotels are up with occupancy. We want to expand to 100 plus, 100,000 new jobs since I took office. We're watching a decrease in shootings, a decrease in murders. We are on the right path, New York, and you don't have to only physically be at one Vanderbilt to realize it. You can know it no matter where you are. We're on top of the world. This is New York City. This is the best city on the globe. In 22 days, we put in the plan to appeal to the DNC to come to our city in 22 days, earlier than when it was supposed to be turned in. That's the type of coordination we're looking for. 2024, this is the place to be, and I thank this entire coalition that's here, because we want to fill those hotels, right, Rich? So the entire coalition that has come together, raise the money, send the right signal. New York should be the place in 2024 for the DNC National Convention. Thank you to the whole team.
As the mayor said, it was just 22 days ago that Frank Carone pulled together EDC, NYC and company, and the City Hall staff to say we've got to deliver a product on time, maybe ahead of time. And it's really due to his leadership, the interagency coordination that resulted from that, really a hallmark of this administration, and the great work of all the people at those agencies. And I just want to thank them and have them get a round of applause, because there was a lot of work in the last 22 days that went into this. And I'm going to turn it over to Frank.
Thank you, Andrew. You know, the mayor says often, uses the word often, teamwork. And it was exactly that. An incredible effort. There was never any doubt. There was never any hesitation. The team got to work, and we made it happen. Now we can only hope for the best. You know, the mayor says over and over again, New York is open and a place which will continue to welcome people and events enthusiastically. This was evident this morning when the mayor welcomed the men and women, servicemen and women in uniform at Gracie Mansion for the kickoff of Fleet Week, first time in 2 years. There was a palpable energy in the room. It is that same welcome and energy we like to bring to the 2024 Democratic National Convention. And what will we say to the DNC? New York is ready to make this the smoothest, best run, and sophisticated national convention they've ever seen. And we say that humbly. The city will roll out the red carpet. We're going to build the best host committee, which we believe will raise the sufficient resources to make this happen. That is the mayor's commitment, that is my commitment, that is our administration's commitment, and that is the city's commitment. As you can see, just by who is represented here, people representative of the business community, key agencies, uniformed services, our world-class hospitality industry. We have Democrats, Republicans, and independents. We're united here today to remind you there is no city that has your delegates, that your delegates and staff will enjoy being more in. And there is no city better prepared to do just that. You know, it's significant if we're successful and the DNC grants us this convention. It will mark the 100-year anniversary from the first convention in Madison Square Garden, 1924. That is not only significant for mark their 100 years, but that era, 1924, was also coming out of a pandemic of 1918. And just like then, like now, we'll be coming out of a pandemic. That event highlighted our city's and country's recovery. A century later, what better way to send that message of resiliency and recovery than to bring the 2024 convention to Madison Square Garden? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Frank. Next, I'd like to introduce Representative Jerry Nadler of the 10th District of New York City and Dean of the New York City Congressional Delegation. His district includes many of the proposed venues, hotels, and sites, which will be so critical to delivering an outstanding DNC convention. Congressman.
Thank you very much. I'm proud to join Mayor Adams today to offer my strong support for New York City's bid to host the 2024 Democratic National Convention. New York City is the most dynamic and diverse city in the country. As the world's business, creative, and cultural capital, New York offers the Democratic Party the perfect backdrop to show our party's ideals, members, and our nominee to the American people in a democratic state. Along with countless cultural attractions, restaurants, hotels, and entertainment, New York City has unparalleled infrastructure that will seamlessly transport DNC attendees from across the country to and from destinations across New York City. With a long tradition of successful Democratic National Conventions in the past, 1868, we all remember that one, 1924, 1976, 1980, and 1992, New York City is the platform from which successful presidencies are made. And like for the 1924 Democratic Convention in Madison Square Garden nearly a century ago, New York City was the epicenter of a pandemic, and now we are the epicenter for recovery. With the centennial of the 1924 convention, it is befitting to host the 2024 Democratic National Convention in New York City once again. As we look forward to the 2024 presidential election, New York City will be the ideal springboard to take the Democratic Party into the next era as President Biden's presidency culminates. I look forward to working with you to bring the Democratic National Convention to New York City in 2024. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to call on Representative Carolyn Maloney of the 12th District, who, like Representative Nadler, has so many of the key sites in her district that'll play a role in a successful convention. We look forward to working with you, Congressmember.
New York City is the greatest city in the world, the greatest city in America, and it's the center of the universe for the economy, arts, entertainment, unions, hotels, restaurants, you name it, even Broadway's here. And I'm very proud to be standing next to the mayor and supporting his efforts to make us the center of political life and have the Democratic National Convention right here in New York City in 2024. It's been 30 years since the DNC was in New York City, and I think it's about time that they came back. Because in the last 30 years, New York has been through incredible growth, crisis, and rebuilding. And we have shown resilience, strength, and deep understanding for solving some of our nation's most pressing problems. From the time the Lenape people were here on this island to the time we nominated Bill Clinton right here in New York for the 1992 to be the nominee in 1992, we have always been the innovators and set the tone for the rest of the nation. We are at a unique point in the history of our country, and it is my firm belief that time and time again, New York has helped solve some of our nation's most pressing problems. Let's do that once again by having the center of political life return to our great city as we nominate the next Democratic nominee for the presidency right here in New York City, the greatest city in America, the greatest city in the world. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, it's my honor to introduce Congressman Adriano Espaillat of the 13th Congressional District, undoubtedly a critical partner through all of this and chair of my favorite congressional committee, the House Appropriations Committee.
Oh, you're very smart. Mayor, you got a smart one in your group. This is great, Mayor. I'm happy to be here because there's only one way for the DNC to be successful. And that is by taking that elevator ride right here to the summit and looking up uptown and seeing Harlem and Washington Heights and the Bronx, and maybe on a clear day, just maybe on a clear day, you could see Maine. But you can go down there and you can see Brooklyn and Staten Island, and on a clear day, just maybe on a clear day, you can see Florida. And if you go down there and you look at Jersey, you know, on a clear day, maybe you could see California. And if you go here east, you could see Long Island. And so this is the best way to make this convention a success. So start spreading the news. If you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere. And so this is the best venue New York has. Perhaps the most important component of New York is its people. its neighborhoods, what we have to offer with our neighborhoods and our people, and what everybody pulling together could offer to the Democratic Convention. Now, we know that the mayor in 2 years will be able to showcase the progress that this city has made after the pandemic, and we've seen it already. So let's show the rest of the world what we can do by pulling together. Let's bring the convention to New York City.
Yeah. All right. Partnership with the state of New York is another critical part of this effort, and I'm excited to introduce Assembly Member of the 55th District and Secretary to the New York State Party, Latrice Walker. Assemblymember.
Thank you. This is exciting. This is an exciting time, and it's a great time to be a New Yorker. I would like to thank the chairman of our party, Chairman Jay Jacobs, for allowing me this opportunity to represent the New York State Dems, as well as to have appointed me in this new position. We are fighting very hard in order for New York State to not just be a state which supports democratic values of our nation, but to be an early state. We are competing for one of the 5 slots to be an early primary. And New York's diversity, competitiveness is reflective of a nation, and it makes us a great candidate to hold one of those extremely coveted spots. So on behalf of the state party, we thank the mayor for all of his efforts in order to showcase all of the greatness of New York City and to expose all of our businesses at every level. And so we look forward to working with you so that New York remains #1. Thank you very much.
Seeing as the DNC will bring tens of thousands of visitors to the city during the convention period, hotel accommodations are going to be a critical component of the planning process. More specifically, union hotel accommodations. We're thrilled to have the support of so many of our partners in labor, and I'd like to invite Rich Morocco, the president of the Hotel Trades Council, to say a few words. Rich.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rich Morocco. I'm the president of the Hotel and Gaming Trades Council. And on behalf of our union and our 40,000 members who work in the greatest hotels in the world right here in New York City, we would be honored to host the upcoming 2024 Democratic National Convention. And I will be brief, and I will say first that it goes without saying that New York is a unique destination that offers unparalleled accommodations to its visitors. And it's certainly in part because that New York City boasts the greatest hotels in the world, but more importantly, because no one is more professional, is harder working, and is more welcoming than New York City hotel workers. Now, second, I'll say selecting New York City as the location for the convention would show the DNC's commitment to supporting its core democratic values, because New York City is the most heavily unionized hotel market, where hotel workers earn a living wage, have free family health care, and are able to retire with a pension plan. And finally, look, New York City hotel workers and the New York City hotel industry were hit harder than almost any other by the pandemic. And the recovery, while it is happening, has been slow. And bringing back convention business to New York City will mean jobs for thousands of laid-off hotel workers. So, on behalf of my union and my members, I would like to thank Mayor Adams for pulling together Team New York and spearheading this effort, and hope that we're able to win the bid. Thank you, everyone.
Staying on the hotel theme, we're thrilled to have the support of the Hotel Association of New York and look forward to working with them to create the best possible accommodation experience for the DNC. And I'd like to invite the Hotel Association President, Vijay Dandapani, to say a few words. Vijay.
Well, thank you, Andrew. It's really an honor to be here, and we really wish the city the very best in this effort. And so the Hotel Association, of which I'm the president and CEO of, It's the oldest hotel association in the country, but more importantly, it's an association that works with our partners in labor. And the HTC and us have been hand in glove on so many endeavors, and on this too, as you can see from Rich's comments, we are fully aligned in ensuring that the convention comes here. But just a little bit on what we are about. We represent from 50-room eclectic boutique hotels to the largest hotel in the city, the Marriott Marquis or the Hilton. They come close in number, with meeting space and food and beverage outlets that are second to none, not just in the country, but in the world. In the past year alone, despite the pandemic, we saw a couple of new additions, most notably the Margaritaville Resort, the Hard Rock Hotel that just came up a couple of weeks ago, and soon to open, but well before the pandemic, well before the DNC convention, is the iconic Amman Resort, the Ritz-Carlton Nomad, and the TSX in Times Square. These additions will be joined by the reimagined Park Lane on Central Park South, the Penry West, the Motto by Hilton in Chelsea, to name just a few. And let me not forget to mention the famed Waldorf Astoria, when its new avatar will open sometime next year. While New York City is known for many things, finance, theater, museums, comedy clubs, etc., it is also the unrivaled hotel capital of the world. It is here that the idea of a boutique hotel came about, and it is here that the famed Plaza Hotel and the Waldorf Astoria were first built, and that have spawned imitations around the world. Above all, the human capital that Rich alluded to is truly peerless anywhere in the world. Not only is our workforce truly international and multicultural, but they bring a passion to their jobs that only resident New Yorkers can have. Nearly 80% of our workers and members live within our 5 boroughs, and each of them is an incredible ambassador for our city. Let me conclude by saying that all 125,000 rooms of our industry are thrilled at this prospect of hosting the Democratic National Convention, and we can assure the delegates that they'll have an experience second to none. Thank you all for the opportunity to speak.
I'm thrilled that we were just joined by the chairman of the House Democratic Caucus, Representative Hakeem Jeffries of the 8th Congressional District. Hakeem, would you like to say a few words?
Good afternoon, everybody. It's an honor and a privilege to be here to join in this effort with respect to bringing the Democratic National Convention to New York City in 2024. This is a great city. We have a great mayor. We have a great congressional delegation, great professionals, and we represent what's great about the Democratic Party here in New York City, a gorgeous mosaic of people of every race and religion and gender and sexual orientation, gender identity, life experience is all represented here in the 5 boroughs of New York City. That is what the Democratic Party at its best is all about. And you can find it here in the Big Apple. Thankful for the leadership of Mayor Eric Adams in convening what I know will be an extraordinary and attractive package to the Democratic National Committee. And you can be certain that the congressional delegation will do everything in our power to bring this convention here to the greatest city in the world, New York City.
To close out our program, I want to go back to the top, where I mentioned that hosting the convention will be a boon to the city's economy, especially our retail, hospitality, and cultural sectors who are still recovering from the COVID-19 pandemic. And I'd like to introduce Simon Kinn, the owner of Coates Steakhouse on 22nd Street and 6th Avenue. Go there, eat a lot, spend a lot, to talk about how an event like the Democratic National Convention will provide a boost to so many independent restaurants like his.
Mayor Adams, thank you very much for the bid. And thank you, Commissioner of SBS, Kevin Kim, for including a small business owner to this honorable moment. New York City is home to some of the greatest government, greatest building, obviously greatest people, but it's also home to the greatest restaurants in the world. And past 2.5 years has been truly, truly challenging. But we all know New Yorkers are fighters, right? So we get punched in the face first, but we also stand tall the fastest. So we under the guidance of our leadership, we built the restaurant business sexier, built it better, built it more delicious. So I cannot wait to share our very best with potential the DNC convention here right at the best city in the world, New York City. So thank you very much, and I'm very much looking forward to it. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. I believe we're going to be taking a picture of this group, or Q&A first. Okay.
On topic Q&A. Mayor Adams, do you have a sense of what other cities you'll be up against and how their crime challenges fare to ours?
No, and I know I love this city, and I just really feel sorry for other cities that want to compete with us. I have no idea. We are so ready. This is the place to be. I have no idea what their proposals will be, but we are pleased with ours.
You were just at police headquarters yesterday highlighting some of the guns that we're seeing in schools. Is that going to be an issue for the bid?
No, it's not. People are going to realize the resiliency of this city. We have the best police department on the globe. The issue of pervasive gun violence has become something that's an American problem that we're all going to unite together across this country to solve together. Sally.
Hi. I just wanted to follow up on Emily's question. Is there anything that you're addressing in the bid itself about gun violence? I realize it is an issue nationwide, but is that something that you have to address to the DNC? And what would be your message for delegates who are concerned about subway safety?
Yeah, do we have anything in the bid? Anything in the bid on that?
Just say one of the, and I've lived in New York my whole life, and we not only have the finest police force here, but for an event like this is a national security event that brings law enforcement from every level of government, and New York has a track record of executing on these size events with safety for all the participants. So we're very confident that the delegates and the DNC, as they review our bid, will look very favorably on our security plan, because NYPD will be in the lead of that.
Subway safety in there at all, just because that's been an issue?
Well, when you deal with security plans, everything is brought into it. You know, just as we have Fleet Week here now, one thing we're the best at doing, and that's hosting large events. And the security plan is going to deal in its totality of everything we're going to do to make sure not only visitors are safe, but everyday New Yorkers are safe.
Mayor?
Okay, we're going to come back to you, Bernadette. We want to do on topics so I can free up the crew.
Sure. Mayor, there was mention of both the Garden and the Javits Center. Under the plan, where would the convention be? And if it's the Garden, what role would the Javits Center play?
You want to...
Yeah, the Garden, as everybody here knows, has executed on these kinds of events many times in the past, so has that track record. That's where the convention will be. The Javits will be absolutely critical because you're required to have additional exhibition hall, media center, and event space, and that'll be the Javits role.
Really, what, shuttle buses or transportation?
Absolutely. Very quick, 15 minutes back and forth, shuttle buses.
I understand that the economic benefit this would bring to the city, but from a political perspective, wouldn't it make more sense to have the convention in a swing state?
No.
Anybody else on topic? Yeah, sure. Mayor Adams, is this in keeping with the raising of your profile nationally and the political advantage to you personally at hosting the convention here?
I'm the mayor of New York. My profile is already where it needs to be. You could run America from New York City. You know, this is New York. Look at the head of the conference, Hakeem. You know, look at these leaders that are here, headed major committees in the entire Congress. You know, this is it. You know, right here in New York City. I was president already in Brooklyn. Why do I want to do something else?
We'll do off topic, let them all go, and then you guys set up for the picture, we'll do off topic.
Right.
Okay, let's just do it here. No, we can't do that. Can't move.
off topic. Yeah. Yeah. They're going to take the photo over there. The meeting went great this morning, and what is unique here is not only did we do a meeting with over 100, I think it was close to 115, 120 corporate leaders today, but I was not introducing myself to them. This is one of probably 4 meetings that I had from the time that I won the Democratic primary to the time leading up to taking office, after office. I am fostering a real relationship with my corporate leaders to say we're going to keep you up to date, we're going to have a partnership, and answer specific ways that we can work together to really keep our city safe. That specific incident that happened on the subway system, now people see why I am focused on removing people off the system that are dealing with mental health illnesses. So all the pushback that I have been giving shows today in that video. This is what Mayor Adams is talking about, of getting in that system, removing people off the system that are dealing with mental health issues, putting them in safe haven beds, wraparound services, where they get the services they deserve. And that's why we're going to continue to do that. That video's really concretized why I'm doing what I'm doing.
The meeting today, though, with the business leaders, that's any different in light of what happened to Mr. Enriquez on Sunday? Are they saying, yeah, our people feel safe, we're going to get on the subway now? What came out of that?
Well, first, the goal of the meeting. The goal of the meeting is to continue our communication and say to them, here's what we're doing. We rolled out our summer plan. We showed what we did around retail thefts and what we're going to continue to do. The announcement that was made today with the AG, many of the retailers wanted to know about the arrest that we made. We also wanted to show them how they could help us in the future. Everybody knows about my campaign. We need to be lifting up police, public safety in our city. I'm asking them to do everything from billboards to newspaper ads, sign-on letters. We need to lift up public safety in our city. We have not been doing a good job with doing that. Then we want them to buy into, I told them I need them to buy into my paid internship programs. A lot of these young people who are finding themselves on the wrong path, we need to have them part of corporate America, and we wanted to really give them a layout of what our summer plan is going to be. Civilianizing, putting officers out of patrol back in uniforms, reallocating police officers that are at friendly parades to have them do real assignments, focusing on the 40 precincts where much of our gun violence is coming from. We wanted to show them what we're doing so they can go back to their employees and say, we are responding to this issue of crime. Concrete examples? Well, they were very excited about my embracing of technology. We had 2 meetings today. We had meetings with one of the largest insurance company, Deloitte, and a few others earlier this morning at 8 o'clock, and then we had the larger meeting today. They're excited about my embracing of technology. They're excited about how we are not allowing quality of life to just happen in our city, that we are cracking down on quality of life, everything from fare evasion to retail thefts. They're excited about the approach that we are taking of not just ignoring the dysfunctionality that we have witnessed in our city. Yes. No, not at all, not at all. There's an amazing initiative that's happened across the country. People outside of government and corporate America, they have a different view of solving problems. And so we don't want to exist anymore in a bubble. I want my corporate entities to help us write out the curriculum for schools, because these young people must fill those jobs. I want people in my tech industry. I had a meeting with Tech NYC. I'm asking them to come with ideas of using technology to run city better. So by you placing some of your best and brightest on loan to the city, that's saving taxpayers dollars. That is the way we're supposed to do it. We should recruit from these large corporations to come in, give time to government. I also said volunteer. Volunteer. These are the things I'm asking for. No, volunteer time. Everybody should give back.
Next Q&A. We got another question.
Mayor, there are a lot of people I know, particularly in the suburbs, who are very happy working at home, don't want to go back to the community. Do you feel that they have a moral obligation to come to work here and come to the office? And if so, why?
No, I don't feel it. You know, you can't say it's a moral obligation. I think it's the right thing to do, because it feeds our financial ecosystem. If you are in your office, you are going to a restaurant, you're going to take your clothing to the cleaners, you're getting your shoes shined. And so we are saying, my job and the job of the New York City Police Department is to make our city safe so that people can feel comfortable to enjoy our theaters, tourism, come back to work. That's what we're going to do. You know, I know it's not reported often, but shootings are down, homicides are down, arrest of guns are up. You're seeing the plan we put in place actually being carried out, and that's the goal.